Support WrestleTalk.
Are they saying boo? Or are they saying boo-earns?
I thought you were going to say boo-unk. Or
Boo-unk.
Boo-eat.
CM Boonk?
CM Boonk?
C Boo Punk?
Young Boonks.
The Young Boons.
The Young
Kenny
Boons.
Boomega.
There it is.
I don't know. It's a Simpsons reference.
Yes.
Because last night on AEW Dynamite, they're in Chicago, and the Chicago crowd, I love them. They're so great. And like an excited dog, they don't know what they want to make loads of noise, and they chase after the cars, but when they get to the car, they don't know what to do with themselves. Yeah, screw CM Punk. Also, boo the Elite. It was brilliant. I'm Oli Davis. I'm joined by Chopper Pete Quinnell. Luke Owen is off ill today.
He's ill. He's a sick boy.
He's never ill. Send Luke some love, some get well wishes. He's still kind of working. He's on the emails and stuff, but
shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be. And press the thumbs up button. Give us a subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on demand for what you thought of this episode of Dynamite. And if you're watching live, get in those OmegaChats.
We can call them that again.
The OmegaChats. To WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one of them over $5 before the end of the show. So what this was, it's round 2 in the best of 7 series of the Elite versus Death Triangle Trios Championship match. Fantastic match at the pay-per-view. Fantastic match here. But there was trepidation because the Elite had a very, very, well, public, but also behind closed doors spat with CM Punk.
Yes.
And CM Punk is from Chicago.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
He doesn't really make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
But they love him. So this was essentially the Elite going into the Lion's Den, going into enemy territory. And we were saying yesterday in the office, how is Chicago going to react to them?
Mm-hmm.
And they initially, when the Elite came out, there were boos. You could definitely hear them. And I felt...
You could definitely hear them.
Yeah.
I could barely hear their entrance music. The boos were so loud.
I miscalled a crowd reaction last week. So whenever I was like, the crowd did this, I was like, I'm just going to double check that 3 times. They booed them. I thought the Elite initially looked a bit taken aback.
Interesting. I didn't pick up on that.
I just, like they're a bit cautious. Like, okay, yeah, they're definitely booing us.
Yeah.
They're smart guys.
Yeah, of course
It was always a strong possibility that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So they definitely had planned stuff in advance for if it happened, but knowing something will happen in theory is very different to actually experiencing it. So I thought, maybe they're just great sellers. I thought they were genuinely taken aback by the boos.
It could have been, for sure. Yeah.
But then from that point onwards, they just worked the crowd beautifully like pantomime villains.
So good.
Doing CM Punk go to sleep chants. Kenny Omega hit the go to sleep. Like, take that, Kenta.
Yeah, exactly. What a shot at Kenta specifically. And no one else.
Kenny Omega bit, I think, Penta's arm or Phoenix's arm.
I think it was Pac.
The other one then.
Yep.
Just like all of these BTE style references to Brawl Out.
I think with this one though, BTE can get a little bit too self-referential at times. I think it's very much like an in-joke of an in-joke of an in-joke at times. I think this trolling on this show was the perfect level of trolling because pretty much everyone in that crowd is going to know exactly what they're doing. And I think of all the spots, the biting on the arm was the most like insider reference. Like you have to know what was in the reports. Hitting a GTS, you understand that CM Punk has been suspended. The Elite have been suspended. There's beef, even if you don't know all the details. A bite on the arm spot, and the crowd to react like that for a bite on the arm spot was like everyone knows everything about all the reports that have come out in this crowd. And that Matt Jackson purposefully botching a buckshot was so funny. I could not stop laughing when I was watching it. I think this match had the perfect level because in a best of 7 series, you can run the risk of doing the same match 7 times. This match was completely different to their pay-per-view match. Had a completely different vibe because they were in Chicago, and they played the match differently. And it wasn't just comedy and trolling. They had that layer and that element of it. And then they also had a great wrestling match as well on top of that, because they can do that because they're all great. I loved this trolling of the crowd, and I loved that the crowd played into it back. As you put it in your edited review, this was very pantomime. This was, we're going to tell you to do a thing, and then you respond back with the appropriate response. And then we'll do that again, and then we'll go again. And it's a nice symbiotic relationship we've got here. To the point where I think that the turning point for me, because when they first made their entrance, I was like, oh, that's genuine hate.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't like the Elite at all. But there was a turning point in the match where they started chanting, "This is awesome." And the match, I was like, they wouldn't chant that if they didn't actually like the Elite.
That's it. There was a "This is awesome" chant. There was definitely a FCM Punk chant at one point, which we already got all out. Not all out. Not Forbidden Door. Revolution.
Full gear! Bash at the beach.
I'll get there. I was actually going reverse chronological order. I'm just so scared about Survivor Series.
It's not till next week.
I know. Yeah, we're taping, and everyone who's excited.
Oh yeah, it's spoilers, I guess.
We're
doing another Survivor Series
next week. So I have been reading the autobiography of the best stand-up comedian working today, which is Stuart Lee, and he goes very in depth about how you interact with an audience and how much you can heckle and make fun of an audience back.
Yes.
And he said you can't just go into a place and go, well, Kent is rubbish, isn't it? You're full of chavs, right?
Sure.
Because that's just mean-spirited, superficial rubbish. But if you go in somewhere and you
it's
play
cheap
a game,
heel heat, is what it is.
Heat.
Yeah.
If you go in there and you say, well, Kent's rubbish because of, the one-way system around Dartford, it's that local knowledge. It's like showing the audience that you've given them the respect to read up on what they love before tearing it apart makes people go, but in context, this is a joke. And that is definitely how I saw all of this trolling through the lens of. That moment, the bites and the crowd reacting to it, I think that is the Elite winning over the Chicago crowd, where they're like, that's so good. You are trolling us so well. We're going to give you a "This is awesome" chant.
Yeah. I totally agree. This was perfectly done, I think. And for me as well, another element of this is what makes, for me, this Best of 7 series so exciting is having these different elements to it. And there's also the layers of the Elite story and their comeback and the score between the Elite and Death Triangle and what matters for the Trios titles. And there's also the Death Triangle story at the same time. So you have an Elite story, you have a Death Triangle story, and you have the competitive story between them. Yeah. And you have so many layers to all of this, and all of it plays out in every match, because the finish of this match was Matt Jackson going to use the hammer of his own that they used to get the win at Full Gear.
Off the back of a low blow.
Yeah, off the back of a low blow. Going to use the hammer. Penta then reveals that he has his own hammer, which he then uses, and Pac gets the pin for the win, which is just so well done. Again, also, Death Triangle win again. Elite got cocky and lost again. So now they're 2-0 down in the Best of 7. I really like that. And losing in Chicago, I think that's a very smart booking decision. And then there was the element of Phoenix still being like, I still don't like the way we won that. Like, there's so many elements and layers to this story and so many different ways to enjoy it, whether it's superficially because it's good wrestling, or you like one layer of it with the Elite stuff, or another layer with the Death Triangle story. So many parts to enjoy about this that it made it for such a fun match to watch. Multi-layered. If
it was just the Elite come out, their first Dynamite back in however many months, and they squash the Nightmare Factory while doing all the CM Punk taunts and the bite, totally different story.
Absolutely.
Because that is just out and out. That's an asshole move to do.
Yes.
For something you've been telling everyone else, hey, let's not talk about this. Let's move past this. But yeah, because you had all those layers, the story was well respected. It worked with the interplay with the Chicago crowd for me. I thought it couldn't have been done better for what they had to deal with. I'm going to be devil's advocate. They are co-executive vice presidents of the company. They are also going out and saying, do not bring this up. We want to move forward from it. Kenny Omega was it Sports Illustrated in the interview?
I can't remember the
essentially said that on the day of the show. Either that's fantastic heel heat, or it's mixed messages that undermine the line you are trying to draw underneath this situation.
Yeah.
So while I do think in context of this match, and the arena, it worked brilliantly. Long term, I think it is going to give AEW problems when they want to say, okay, drop the Punk stuff now, fans, because, you know, they're not doing that themselves.
They've set precedent for bringing it up at this point. And I think there was a report from, I think it was Meltzer on Observer Radio, saying that people who are close to CM Punk have said that he's not happy with that trios match.
How could you
Which,
be?
you know, fair.
It's all the guys making fun of you for you losing your job.
In your hometown.
In your hometown, which he loves. Like, regardless of who's wrong or right here, you know, you are in a sort of victor and loser scenario now that the investigation is over. So, yeah, that is a dickhead move.
It is. And where the line is drawn is very difficult, and it can be perceived as hypocritical to say, like, guys, come on, let's move past it. We just want to do stories now. When those stories then involve the thing that you're trying to move past. It definitely can be. At the same time, I loved it. So,
I know, same.
You know, criticize me if you want. I loved it. So, sue me.
There were a few. Well, don't say that. He's very litigious.
Not Punk, but fans watching.
There were moments in this match, and I have not experienced this once, honestly. Well, maybe in that first week, but since All Out, Brawl Out, where I was like, I want to see Punk come back. Is this a work? Because if Punk is coming back and he's going to have a feud with Kenny Omega, which would be money anyway, now it would be freaking massive box office.
Yeah.
I thought, like, when Omega hit the GTS, I was like, I want that to happen more than I want Punk going back to WWE now, which makes me think, well, if Elite are doing this, is this all now a work? And I cannot believe I'm saying that.
And, well, no, okay. Is it all a work?
No.
No,
not all a work, but they are turning it into a work.
They're turning it into an angle now. They've, like, reconciliated behind the scenes and all that stuff. It's a possibility. I don't think that is the case, but it is a possibility. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, come on, guys, let's move past the Punk thing now. Forget about it so that we can bring Punk back later, and it's a big surprise. Like, it totally could be a possibility. I don't think that's the case at all. I think they're just doing what the Elite do and do very self-referential and troll, and that because that's what they do. Regardless, I had fun.
If it is now part of the Elite's characters and act that they keep on saying, guys, can we just move past the CM Punk thing? But they're always the ones bringing it up. I'm not against that if in February they're doing one of those bits and then Punk walks out full of piss and vinegar with Larry napping away like a snapping turtle.
Less Larry, but more Punk. I'm into that.
That's a tag team. Or, you know, Trios Championship, Punk, Larry, and Ace Steel. I was going to say, when I started that, I was going to say Punk and FTR.
I thought you were,
but let's see what you all think of it. Of course, get your Omega chats into WrestleTalk.com/support. Scott Young, 2907. Let's break it down. The Elite are higher-ups and executives for a company. Whenever you think of Punk, he is still an employee of said company, so you have 3 execs mocking an employee. That's a massive lack of professionalism, in my opinion.
It's a valid point. It totally is a valid point.
Yeah.
And you can't deny the power dynamics that are at play. Totally valid. I understand why it wouldn't be for some people's tastes. I get it.
Yeah, that is a side of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And you've got to think, how does that impact the rest of the roster? Like, who don't like the Elite or maybe feel a bit politicked out by the Elite?
Yeah.
They're there going, well, now I can't even... I've got to walk on eggshells even more because I don't want to be treated like this. Charles Berg, I love pettiness. So those digs at Punk were... chef's kiss. I don't blame the Chicago crowd for booing the Elite. I mean, these are people who call a casserole a pizza. So, Charles Berg, healing it up here. So critical thinking was never their strong suit. Deep dish is good, but it's not pizza. Bacon Rasher. Hiya, lads.
I did see, sorry, just before you go on to this one, I did see Charles Berg in the chat before we went live say, just so you guys know, I really like Chicago. Don't hate me for what I've ultra chatted today.
What are you saying? Are you saying this was a joke that I shouldn't take 100% seriously? Oh, my word. Bacon Rasher. Hiya, lads. I thought the trolling from the Elite was brilliant and worked the crowd in a good way. They're loved by all wrestling fans. Oh, I don't know. Check out the comments section, Bacon Rasher.
Yep.
Question, Punk and FTR or the Elite? Your promotion, and you can't swap or fire them. LIW for life. One more chat coming for you, Oli. Thank you. Oh, that's a... I mean, FTR and Punk. I'd go for FTR and Punk.
Yeah, I know you would. He's so close.
And I would be such a good boss for Punk because I would do anything else. I would fire the Elite.
That is not. That's not being a good boss, Ollie.
No, you misunderstand. Because then he'll be my friend.
Oh, I don't know. I'll take the Elite probably. Yeah, why not?
William Rosmer, the Elite in Chicago is the new HBK in Montreal. I was thinking that anti-MJF in Long Island when I was watching this.
Yeah.
This is making me feel like something has been worked out between the sides. Otherwise, Kenny's statement in the Sports Illustrated article and last night's match feels like a super petty move.
Probably was.
Yeah, it could also be just a super petty move. But I don't really see pettiness from Omega. I think generally Kenny Omega conducts himself very, very well. It's the Bucks' sense of humor that often turns things petty. So
Kenny did bite his arm.
Stevie Howlin, the Chicago crowd surprised me in the very best way. They were in on the joke rather than legitimately angry and elevated an already fantastic match to another level.
I agree.
That explains what we've been saying very succinctly.
They're the third character of this story.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Chicago, a great crowd. Power Packers number 90, Memberg for 15 months. I was there. Awesome.
Nice.
It was fun chanting Wisconsin sports chanting Wisconsin sports chants for the Elite. Chicago and Wisconsin teams have major rivalries, like my Packers owning them. It's the Bears, apparently. We've got some moderator context here from John. It's American rules football teams and a very long-standing rivalry. Derby. He's translated it for us.
Into English speak. Football! That's all we know.
That's all we know, and there's certainly no pettiness in our football.
Absolutely not. None at all.
So let's get on with the Dynamite episode. It's a Thanksgiving episode.
Thanksgiving Eve.
So there was a little turkey animation on a lot of the graphics.
I'm really glad that that's basically as far as it went. And they weren't like, let's have a Thanksgiving street fight match. Because I'm like, don't do that. But I like they reference it. It's nice.
It's tailor-made for the JAS to come out and have a Thanksgiving dinner as an in-ring segment. Why did that not happen?
You know what? That's fair. If you want to do the sports entertainment faction, do a sports entertainment thing. I get it. That's fine.
My problem.
That's fine. Yeah.
I really like the concept of the JAS. I wish they did it because this is, like Jake Hager with the hat.
Perfect.
And then you go into the Orange Cassidy match. Anyway, this show opened up on just an outstanding segment.
I love this.
Regal comes out, go right into where we left off at Full Gear Revolution. Forbidden Door.
It's definitely just Full Gear.
Full Door Forbidden Revolution out. Ooh.
Great Balls of Fire.
Regal comes out and he says MJF isn't going to be here tonight. He's busy filming a movie because he's better than you. And he said that everything will be explained next week. Their sort of heel plot. And he also said that he sent an email a few weeks ago to MJF, which says to me, like, this isn't a long-running plot by Max, because Max came back at All Out, and his plot was with the firm.
Yep.
So whatever he's figured out with Regal here has come after their promo together.
Which I think checks out. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think their initial promo together, with MJF kind of accosting Regal and being like, I've succeeded despite you, that kind of initial promo, I think it makes sense for that to be kind of the catalyst of whatever plan they forged together out of this. I think I'm intrigued to see what happens next week.
You probably realised, oh man, this firm storyline is rubbish.
Stop trying to make the firm happen. I really liked Regal here. I love heel Regal and him just being like, Mr. Friedman doesn't have time to come to places like, where are we? Where are we again? Chicago was so proud of being Chicago. It was great. And, there was FU Regal chants, and he just kind of glanced around, so uncouth. Yeah. I'm like, love heel Regal. This is so much fun.
He was so quiet. And it wasn't a mic issue, which is usually the problem in AEW. He was on purposely talking quiet to make the crowd, like, I have more power than you, and I'm hardly raising my voice.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Then Moxley makes his entrance, and I thought, this poor guy can't go on holiday. He's always needed.
No vacation.
He comes in. He should have a no days off John Moxley t-shirt at least by this point. He's going to go right for Regal. Danielson, to his credit, sprints out, because I'm there thinking, where's Blackpool Combat Club? Where's Blackpool Combat Club? Danielson zooms in like he had actually just heard Moxley's music and just started sprinting.
Like wearing a beanie, like not wearing his gear. Like it looked like, Danielson's in street clothes and he's just found out about this. He needs to get to the ring right now. It's very well done.
He zooms in under the bottom rope and he stands in between Moxley and Regal. And I just thought everyone was very good here, but Danielson for me was on another level. He said, I love this man, Regal. I know he's turned on you, but look at us. We've all done bad things. And then he just went into how Regal had helped Danielson cope with his own father's alcoholism because of Regal's addiction issues, tying that into Moxley's addiction issues that he got sorted, or at least, went to get help for last year, brought his daughter into that. And I was just like, oh my God, I have never had to feel so many complicated emotions off the back of a heel turn.
Yeah, totally. Like, the way that Danielson portrayed it to say, like, the reason I love William Regal is because for the last 10 years of my dad's life before he passed away, I was able to love him, is like, that's like a huge, like, gut punch that you have to, like, rationalize in your head while you're watching this conflict of this man who clearly just wants to beat the hell out of this man who betrayed him, to listen to this other guy that he respects, to be like, you're making a great point, but I also want to beat this man up because he turned his back on me and I don't like that. So many conflicting emotions this, and I think Moxley, you said Danielson did a great job here. I loved Moxley in this segment as well. He said so much without saying anything. So many fantastic facial expressions, and just him going to the ropes, holding on, and just shaking the ropes ever so slightly, and the camera zooming into his hand just to show the vibrations in his hand and all the energy that he had pent up inside him. I was like, this is incredible. This is exactly what I want from my wrestling. This is amazing.
Just in case anyone hasn't seen Dynamite and is painting a visual picture of John Moxley doing an Ultimate Warrior spot in this, it was more subtle.
It was a slight vibration. Yeah.
It was all good. It's not what I expect. I was like, what the punches and the kicks? What are those? Why am I crying?
Turn. Yeah.
And I really made me think of that end of the second act of any stand-up movie with the hero and the villain, and the hero gets the chance to beat up the villain, but chooses the moral high ground and says, you just go. And that's what Moxley says to Regal. He says, run, never come back. And I've seen movies that never works out. The bad guy either
you've seen Lion King,
when
Scar says it to Simba.
The bad guy comes back, and the good guy either has to kill the bad guy or the bad guy kills the good guy. And considering Moxley still hasn't had that vacation, I imagine it's going that way. And Regal leaves.
Yeah.
I thought this was brilliant. There were so many things that had to be done here, and they did nothing, and still made me more excited for next week's episode, which is what's been missing from AEW for me. I haven't had those big cliffhanger character or story moments where I'm like, I can't wait to see what happens next. I didn't get anything from MJF, not even an appearance. I didn't get an explanation from Regal. I didn't get what's going to happen to the Blackpool Combat Club. I'm more confused about that. I didn't get anyone brawling. And yet it was done perfectly.
It absolutely was, because this, I think, made you think about the ramifications of a heel turn much more than you would normally. This wasn't Moxley is annoyed and Regal's a heel. You had that element of it, And then you had Danielson being like, actually, no, don't beat this guy up. You'll actually kill him if you do.
Oh, yeah, that
He
was a
has
big
too
part.
many injuries. Do not hurt him. You'll kill him if you do that. And Moxley being forced to swallow his anger. You know, Moxley. We've seen Moxley. He loves a fight, right? He doesn't care about all that stuff. But being forced to swallow his pride and just be like, all right, fine. Just leave instead. And him having to come to terms with that was brilliant. And the interplay between Danielson and Moxley, and looking forward to the explanation of MJF that much more, to see what MJF and Regal looks like. I think it was a very bold move to not have MJF on this show and to not have an explanation for the actions. So I think that is the thing that people were most looking forward to coming out of Full Gear. And maybe they wanted to delay it because it was in Chicago, and for whatever reason that would mess with things. I don't know, because MJF is always going to be a heel in Chicago regardless, and I know he's an out-and-out heel anyway.
Genuinely filming a movie.
Yeah, but like genuinely like not around. And I don't know if that was a happy coincidence or whatever, or if he could have come but decided not to. They were like, nah, just stay on the movie, it'll be fine, we do it next week. I don't know, but it paid off to not have any progression, but also loads of progression at the same time. It is masterfully done.
I've got so many more questions, and I'm excited for them.
Yeah.
We cut backstage to Keith Lee. Renee Paquette wants to interview him, but Swerve walks in and says, let's talk. And Keith Lee says yes. And Swerve puts his hand over the camera.
Yes.
And yeah, so this hardly took up any time at all. I thought we were moving on from the will they team together thing. So
I don't know if this is still a will they team together thing. I got more of the sense of Keith Lee is very ready to be done with him, but he is giving Swerve one final chance to convince him otherwise.
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time, and I don't think they will reconcile.
No.
And nor should they. But I like the fact that it's, again, not as simple as what we've come to expect. A tag team breaks up, and then they go their separate ways, or they have a feud, and they hate each other, end of story. This is still another thing that we're not used to, of a tag team splitting, but still being like, I still want to like you, but you're forcing me not to, you know? Like, there's still another element to it, and I like it.
Yeah, from that perspective it is, but at the same time, the story is well overdue for being finished and moving into the next phase. After that, we had Jake Hager versus Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship match. Brilliant comedy match. Used a bunch of JS from the outside and the Best Friends interference, mostly built around Jake Hager's little purple hat, which he loves. The hat was possibly the most over thing in the match.
Oh, it's so well done. And it's so perfectly placed in the match, where he wrestles with it on. Great. Love it already. The fact that it becomes the most important thing in the match. Like, part of the finish of this match was Jake Hager releasing a hold to get his hat because Orange Cassidy took it off his head. That is so stupid. I love it.
Yeah.
It is a brilliant level of silliness. The exact right level of silliness, I think.
Cassidy retained. Then the Nightmare Factory came out because they've been
just called the Factory.
Sorry, the Factory. As in the Cody Rhodes days. Because they've been feuding on and off with the Best Friends, and I was just like, oh, God's sake. And something was going wrong with I don't know if you noticed this, the screen kept on going black, and so they're obviously trying to find the right light switch to do the blackout spot. And I thought
that was intentional.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I thought they turned the screen off to be like, that's step one, and then QT Marshall's mic cut out, and it's like, that's step two. Then the lights cut out. That's step three.
Oh, I take it back then. That is a fun way of doing it. I was just like, oh, Danhausen's gonna jump him from behind. Yeah. But then no, blackout, lights come up, House of Black up there. But first with Julia Hart on the ramp and everything. And they just destroyed everybody out there. They looked awesome.
I liked it a lot. They beat up everybody, and that made me real happy. And then they did a Dante's Inferno on the ramp to a random security guard. That made me happy as well. This is great. I love House of Black, and I'm so happy they're back. I can't wait to see what they do next.
Trios Championships, surely.
Would be amazing. If they can build up them over the next month and a bit until the Best of 7 series is done, and go right into a feud with whoever wins comes out on top out of that. Big fan.
I've said it for a long time. I think maybe not premium live event worthy currently, but I think you can just strap the rocket to Malachi Black, have him enter the title scene immediately as a challenger for MJF, as a sort of tweener, and just, build for 4 weeks to a match on a special episode of TV. So I would also go for that. I do not think they're going for the All-Atlantic title, despite entering in that segment. They never held it up. This is just, we are back and we hate everybody.
It might be a feud with kind of best friends, brackets general, for a little bit, like a dominant, like a short dominant feud for House of Black to just beat some people.
Okay.
Because they can't immediately go against Death Triangle or Elite. They're busy right now. For the next few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a couple trios matches with them.
Yeah.
Might be into that.
We then got the final of the Eliminator World Title Eliminator Tournament.
Yes.
Which was Ethan Page and Ricky Starks. This was a decent match. I thought it got really good in the second half. And it was pretty much all Ricky Starks me. I'm not saying Ethan Page was bad in the match, but his character journey here, the portrayal of him, just has not clicked with me. Even though I love Ethan Page as a talent, but Ricky Starks, I'm fully behind. I thought he was a great babyface in peril, bandaged up his entire torso, and he comes back to win.
Yeah, and this was designed to portray the babyface story of Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
It wasn't Ethan Page's story here. He was just the heel that Ricky Starks needed to overcome in this match. And I thought they did that story really well. I really like the booking of Ricky Starks from Rampage to Full Gear to here, doing like a bunch of wrestling all in a row to be like, yeah, he's disadvantaged over Ethan Page. That makes loads of sense. And him being bandaged up and stuff like that. Some really really clever counters I thought in this match. Like there was a tornado DDT off the ropes where Ethan Page just like dunked him onto the ropes instead to be like no, which was really great. I liked that Stokely Hathaway dragged Ethan Page out of the way of a dive, which was really cool, and then got ejected. I like that's a fun spot. I really like that. But then Starks came back and won with 2 spears, and it was really good. Very fun match.
And that builds Starks for a world title shot of Winter is Coming against MJF.
Love it.
MJF and Ricky Starks headlining one of the biggest TV specials of AEW's calendar.
Big fan.
That is homegrown stuff. That makes me very proud of the promotion.
Absolutely. And I want, between now and then, I want the Ricky Starks promo.
Yeah.
Between now and then. And I think when he's faced with MJF / Regal, that could totally happen. The big memorable Ricky Starks promo, because he's done the occasional very good promo already. People know he can talk and people know he can wrestle. I just want MJF has had career defining promos, about 5 or 6 of them at this point. I want one Ricky Starks one between now and then, and that would make me so happy.
It's funny because all of these guys are very good friends. I know a lot of them are friends because they work at AEW. But it was a clip shared for a High Spot special interview from, I think, 2019. Amigos, I think is what it's called.
Sure.
It's Ethan Page's show.
Yeah.
And it's just Ethan Page, MJF, and Ricky Starks just all chatting on a couch. 2 microphones between them, passing it around. It's one of those jobbies. We're well familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, I think MJF is going to be very motivated to make Starks look awesome, as was Ethan Page here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really, really promising. Wardlow got a promo against Samoa Joe. Jade Cargill said no comment on Little Bow Wow, and Mark Sterling fired Kira Hogan from the Baddies. I thought Mark Sterling was fired. I didn't know he was part of that act anymore. Maybe he's just a lawyer that comes in for contract things.
I can't remember. I don't know what happens with Mark Sterling.
I think the bigger thing is you don't care. And I don't blame you.
Yeah. There was also just before the Ethan Page Ricky Starks match, there was a Jungle Boy promo as well, where he just said, "Hey, I won, and I'm great." It was good. Just a nice little full stop to be like, "Hey, we remember that Jungle Boy won, but he's not on this show."
Elite took on Death Triangle, which we've covered quite in depth. We got before the 3-way women's tag match, Renee Paquette announced on the stage that management have spoken to Thunder Rosa, and she has decided to relinquish her AEW World Championship due to injury. This will be applied retroactively. So Toni Storm is now considered a full AEW Women's Champion, as is Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter comes out. She's about to cut a celebration promo when Britt Baker takes the mic from her and cuts a promo on Hayter's behalf. Hayter initially looks a bit like, huh? And then the crowd start to boo Baker for not letting Hater speak. And Hater's then like, no, it's okay, guys. It's okay. We're mates.
Yeah.
So really nice first tease.
Yeah. Well, first tease.
Yeah, of this part
of Baker versus Hater 3.0.
Phase 4.
Yeah.
You know, like it was always worked on in the Baker saga.
Yeah.
But now this is the first bit of Phase 4
of the Hater saga. Yeah, exactly. It was very well done, and I'm really happy for Jamie Hater that she gets to not have the asterisk next to it now and just be like, no, I'm an actual world champion. That's nice. I also quite enjoyed the tag match that came next.
Or just before you do, on Thunder Rosa. I love Thunder Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and there's loads of sides to this, I imagine. There's the Baker camp, which is we think Rosa should have dropped her title to Toni Storm.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got the Rosa side, which is I'm injured. It's a back injury. I'm not going to risk it. But then other people are like, well, you know, other people have worked on a lot more severe injuries. You could have at least dropped the title in one match. And she's like, I don't want to. So it's like, yeah. Why wasn't Thunder Rosa out here to cut the promo herself?
I don't know, but I don't know that she had to be. You know?
I think if you wanted to, again, draw a line under these ideas that Rosa is difficult to work with, her absence was quite potentially telling.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't, maybe it's just because I really like Jamie Hater. I was like, oh, cool, that's great. So I didn't really focus on the Thunder Rosa not being there. But yeah, that there's some stuff to unpack if you want to from that. But I'm choosing not to.
Where's the interaction of Baker and Hater, like just smarmily looking at Rosa?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need that.
If I was booking long-term feuds, I'd certainly want it. Unless the performer didn't want to do it twice.
Maybe that's it.
But this tag match was decent.
Yeah, I liked it. I really like that they had Sky Blue on the show. And kind of like Chicago hometown. Like,
She's from Chicago.
Nice, yeah. So it was nice that the crowd could just get into like the underdog hometown hero and be like, we like that person. Which of course,
and then she gets pinned.
Which of course is the one that gets pinned. But it worked very well for that because she got a really nice like hope spot later on. Mm-hmm. Did a really cool like code red. Like she like rolled into it nicely, and it was really nice. I'll also say, and okay, I have disagreed with you since you mentioned about JAS, and you said they should wrestle like sports entertainers. I've disagreed with you because I don't want to see sports entertainment in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with that.
Don't do a gimmick based on it then.
In this match, I did think that there is absolutely nothing separating TJ and any other tag team. They wrestle exactly the same. And when they say, Ty Mello, she's a sports entertainer, but she has a background in all this very real fighting. She's a great fighter. I'm like, what does that mean then that she's a sports entertainer? There's no substance to it. And while I don't think necessarily you need to wrestle like a sports entertainer, because I do think that would actually detract from the product, I think there are elements that you can include in the presentation that would aid with that they're not doing. And then just putting over that she's a legit like MMA fighter as well. It's like, well, then she's not a sports entertainer, is she? She's just a fighter. That doesn't work. Whatever, just a little thing I noticed. Baker won with the stomp on it. Hater managed to take down Sky Blue, and then Baker hit the stomp on Sky Blue and got the pin. Nice.
So they work together.
Which
is a good way to stretch this out. Afterwards, FTR and Top Flight had a respectful interview. Top Flight were like, we think you're amazing. We want a match for those ROH tag team titles. And FTR were like, well, we're not going to turn down a fight because, goddamn, we just want to wrestle, guys.
Yeah.
We just want to be on a show. So they're going to fight on Rampage.
Yeah.
I added those bits. They didn't say that.
They didn't say that. But it was nice. I'd really love to see FTR go for the AEW tag titles at some point.
No, well, but you've got so many other better teams, more worthy.
Like who, Ollie?
Like Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. So the Acclaimed come out next. Love to see them. Rap. Listen. It's Daddy Ass. His hands are healed. They can all do the scissoring spot, but Caster mentioned It was just Jeff Jarrett, wasn't it? Slap nuts in his rap, not even in a derogatory way, actually. It was just quoting Jeff Jarrett's line. So that was enough for Jeff Jarrett to interrupt on the Tron, and they said, well, don't do that. And the Acclaimed like, well, whatever. And they all scissored three-way, and that was it. So probably building to a Lethal and Jarrett versus Acclaimed match.
I don't like it. I don't want to see it. I don't care. And also, why would Lethal and Jarrett get a world title shot when they just lost on pay-per-view? It doesn't make any sense. I didn't like this.
Yeah, I think it was fine in isolation, but it's about the, I'm not excited for this at all. Whereas a lot of stuff on this, I think everything else on this episode made me optimistic for the direction.
Absolutely.
This is nothing more than filler.
Yes. I would have much preferred, for example, let's say a House of Black return here to beat up the Acclaimed. That would have made me way more excited. And then you have a House of Black potentially going for the world tag titles. I'm cool with that. That would have been great.
Yeah. And the main event was Chris Jericho versus Tomohiro Ishii for the ROH World title. Holy moly. Jericho might be on his best year ever. And he's about, I think he's 52?
52, 53, one of the two. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
This match was so much fun because all they did, little slapsies. Just little this. Are you good at this game, Ollie?
No.
Oh, you did it. Well done.
You get a free slap.
Do it then. Do it.
Well, it's a wrong message to send. I don't want to.
Hold on,
I don't want to start.
Let me just make these rings very prominent. Yeah, go
like
ahead.
I feel like this will come back at me on a tribunal.
Do it.
You're protruding your finger.
Yes, I am.
That's not part of the spirit.
There we go. Anyway, they did a lot of slapping. That was the point of that joke. Yeah, because the match just started off. No handshake or anything. Because, it doesn't really exist in Ring of Honor these days. And they just started slapping each other around the face. Went on for a good minute.
Yeah.
It was great. And then there was just chops. And that was about 90% of the match.
Yeah, chops and slaps. There were wrestling moves in there. It wasn't like a Suzuki match. People did take bumps.
Yeah.
There was a powerbomb. Ishii took this spike pile driver onto the DDT onto the apron. That was brutal. But it was what everyone's talking about is during the I think it was in the picture-in-picture ad break because we watch the fight feed, so we get everything. We don't get ad breaks, which is awesome. We can watch the whole match. Jericho is chopped and he cowers in the corner with his back to the camera for quite some time. Ishii's walking around. He stands up and he is them bleeding.
Yes.
That to me says it's a blade job.
Yes.
Or a blood capsule. I don't know. I hope a
agree.
blood capsule.
Yes, I agree. One of the two. Very unique idea, I think.
I can't believe I've not seen it before.
Yeah, because we've seen people bleed from chopping. Legit.
but like it's like a wet...
Yeah, and it's like a little bit that's just kind of seeped out at the top. This was gushing blood.
This was Ric Flair's forehead.
Yeah, exactly. But blading your chest is such a unique idea. I really like it.
I don't know. The way blading works is there is a particular vein or artery, I don't know, on your forehead which gushes, and you can knock it open relatively easily, and it just bleeds everywhere. Where's that on your chest?
I don't know. Could very well be.
That's why I think it's a blood capsule.
Totally
it
could
looked like it, he smeared it. I was like, how's so much blood coming out of? I've waxed my chest. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. It's possible. Either way, it was a very cool visual.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It was great. And it kind of just added an extra layer to the match of just like, wow, this is really physical. This is great. And I really enjoyed, you mentioned in your edited review of Ishii selling is just wonderful. The fact that there isn't sometimes really adds to when there is. So when he does a German suplex and he's like, oh god, I can't get back on my feet, it really adds to it. Then he does a lion salt. Goodness me, I was going to say lion tamer. Incorrect. Does a lion salt onto him, and then he kicks out a one and fires up. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's like, I love Ishii so much, and it just astounds me to this day how he still surprises me. Because, like, surely there's only so many no-sells you can do. But in this one, yeah, it's no sell off a German suplex, no sell off another German suplex. And then, well, he tries to stand up and then he falls down.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's great. The kick out, like, then you have a near fall and he kicks out at one off of that Lion's Soul. And I just thought, I'm just in awe of this guy's selling. It's brilliant. And then at the end, he's in the walls of Jericho, but it's Ishii's own thick neck, which doesn't really exist. It's like this, it's just his shoulders, really. He powers out of that. And Jericho's like, nope, with the elbow, and he puts him in a lion tamer, and Ishii has the most awesome tap out, middle finger to Jericho, tap, tap, tap.
While still maintaining the middle finger.
Yeah.
It was still out while he tapped, which was great. I really, really like this match. And I love that in terms of that selling from Ishii, it's basically just like anime, where you're just driven by willpower and motivation. And that's enough fuel to just go, and you power up. That's great. That's amazing. How can you not buy into that?
Lion's pride is what New Japan call it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you've got the commentators doing a great job of putting over this 25-year history with these two guys. That when Chris Jericho was in Japan, Ishii was like a young boy. I just can't imagine Ishii as a young person.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He existed. He was born as he is now.
With his boots on and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fantastic main event. Loved it. I thought this was a great episode. And then at the end, really Jericho goes for Ian Riccaboni, the ROH commentator, as his mission against the promotion. But Claudio just one slap knocked him down.
Yeah. Probably would have thought, as it like a show closing angle, maybe a bit more than just a slap, but also there's been 17,000 slaps in the match, so it's just another one of those. So it wasn't terrible.
I liked it because it was like just one slap from Claudio.
Yeah.
And he blindsided him. So it was like, and you want to position Claudio as the face here. I thought it was good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably the final battle main event you'd expect next month.
Which I'm sure will be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Great show.
Really good.
Really like this. It's a little bit of a reset from Full Gear. Lots of things that were paid off at Full Gear. We got elements of new things, and a lot of things that we wanted answers to, we didn't, but we got questions, and we're still intrigued about it. Lots of stuff to be excited for, like the Thunder Rosa relinquishing and Jamie Hayter being official champion now is exciting.
One fewer title.
Yeah, one fewer title in AEW. We'll get there eventually. And just having, like, obviously the Elite Death Triangle stuff was incredible. Ricky Starks winning and setting up the MJF story, the Moxie Danielson stuff, the main event of Jericho Ishii. Like, it was so much to enjoy on this show. House of Black came back. Yeah. So much to enjoy in this show, and so much to be looking forward to going forward, which I think is arguably a more important element of their programming right now, is to make people excited. And this made people excited.
Exactly.
Thumbs up.
I think the last 2 months, we can look back at it as it was just all fallout from what happened. All the major main event storylines had to be rewritten and fudged around. But this was the new reset, and just this felt like the AEW I love.
Absolutely.
So just enormously happy for it.
Yeah.
Before we get into your remaining Omega chats, WrestleTalk.com/support. Get them in. We'll read out every single one over $5 before the end of the show. Let's say a big thank you to our wonderful moderating team.
Woo!
Amanda,
Andy,
Brandon,
Chris,
Devon,
Jalin,
John,
Les,
Paul,
Rob,
Sean.
That's everybody. You said that like there were more. You didn't go like, and Sean.
And Sean.
There we go. Amazing.
Who is Les Paul?
Les Paul?
They're two different people here, but I feel like Les Paul is... Is it like Logan Paul's other brother?
Les Paul?
I feel like I've heard his name before. Anyway.
It's Les Dennis. So you're thinking of.
Dennis. Well, let's get into your chats once I can find them. Oh, I gave the episode 80%, by the way. What would you give out of 5?
If it's possible to give a low 5, I would. Because it was great, and I love pretty much everything on this show, apart from the Acclaimed and the Jeff Jarrett Evil stuff. But it's basically a 5.
I feel like a low, like because 0 counts, because you can give something half a star. 5 is the cap. So when you say a low 5, it's actually a low 4. But I obviously see ratings different to everybody else.
For me, this is like a 90-95% episode.
Whoa!
Yeah. But to be fair, I would be giving 100% to some episodes.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas you never would. You would just be like, there's nothing that's that perfect.
It's got to be a flawless. I was close. Goddamn, Brandy Rhodes didn't have a segment in that CM Punk episode. That was 100% otherwise. That CM Punk MJF match on Dynamite in Chicago, that is just a perfect episode, apart from the Brandy Rhodes nonsense segment.
Yeah.
Is that the... Am I getting 2 episodes mixed up?
You might be. Who knows?
Right, let's go into your Omega chats. Danny G, member for 15 months. Hi, lads. Punk is in on it, and it is a work. But I've heard that no one has told Larry, so he's legit pissed and currently in talks with Papa H.
That makes sense to me. Checks out.
Christopher Jazzcat. I love the Diggs and Trios match. It felt like Kenny and the Bucks of old. I haven't watched AEW regularly for a while, but I'll be tuning in for the best of 7. Ishii has always been awesome. Any Ishii versus Goto match is worth going out of your way to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Goto's one of those guys who is... when I first saw him, I was like, this guy's amazing. But then I realised, oh no, he's only amazing against the right opponents. So Ishii and Goto, any match they have is terrific. And Goto and Suzuki,
I was going to say Goto and Suzuki as well, yeah.
Desmond Williams, first chatter, long-time watcher. Welcome.
Thank you.
So Moxley is Simba from Lion King.
Yes.
Also, what if Roman does the Jimmy beatdown spot? They got EY to quit on
Roman
Sammy.
Got Jay to quit.
Got Jay to quit on Sammy to play on his relationship with Kevin Owens.
Oh, that's nice. Roman does the Jimmy beatdown spot that got Jay to quit on Sammy to play on his relationship with Kevin Owens. That's cool. If he wants to turn on Sammy, that's an interesting way to do it.
So
I'm
what,
intrigued.
Roman would make Sammy beat up Kevin Owens?
No, he'd beat up Sammy to taunt Kevin Owens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
interesting.
remember now. Yeah.
Interesting.
Frantic Energy. We've shot ourselves into a work. Punk versus Omega are All Out 2023. Book it, Tony. I mean, that will be actually huge. I think... No, Punk Stone Cold is a much bigger match.
It
Punk
is a much
versus
bigger match.
Cena. You know, there's a lot of Punk versus Roman. There's loads of big matches, but the biggest match in AEW that you could do is Omega Punk, I think.
That would be the biggest match in AEW history if they did it.
On a more less sarcastic note, less sarcastic note, I'm going to correct that. I'm so glad Tony's championship reign is officially recognized. Well deserved. Keep up the great work, lads.
Thank you.
Shannon Smith. I don't think Rosa would fly into Chicago just to give up the belt. Plus, you save her return pop.
There is that.
I don't see what. The return pop is probably going to be after February. It's not like she's coming back anytime soon if she just relinquished the championship belt. And I think flying in to properly relinquish your championship belt, the thing that should mean more to you than anything, is definitely worthy of a flight. Capitalist. Pure speculation. Could this Bow Wow Jade thing be leading to Sasha Mercedes showing up? After all, he's very close to Snoop Dogg, who's the IRL cousin of her, and AEW rarely focuses this hard on Twitter interactions, i.e. the angle of these concerts.
So we're saying that Jay doesn't like Bow Wow, so Bow Wow will get into it with Snoop Dogg and get Snoop Dogg on his side, and then Snoop Dogg will also recruit Mercedes Venado on his side, so then Mercedes Venado will have beef with Jay Cargill. Is that what we're saying? Is that that's the story?
Lil Bow Wow would be like, well, I've got a partner in the mixed gender tag thing against Jade and Mark Sterling.
I think it might be too many steps to get there.
Oh, yeah.
But I reckon you can play this clip back when I'm wrong, and you can say, haha, told you so.
It's not a good way to do it. It's a way to do it, but it is not a good way to bring Sasha Banks into AEW. Danny G, don't be fooled. He's just the regular Jake Hager with a stupid cheap hat. I want it.
But he's got a new hat.
Jared Hazelwood, I saw on Twitter someone saying that AEW is close to our living Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Outliving. To outliving Smoky
Oh,
Mountain
okay.
Wrestling.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And asking how much that bothers Jim Cornette. What do you all think? Of course, Jim Cornette used to run Smoky Mountain Wrestling and book it in the early 90s. And from what I understand, it was financially never viable. So as much as he does talk a big game, and I respect his opinion on a lot of things, although he does have a lot of things I don't agree with, yeah, at the end of the day, he has never even come close to achieving the success AEW has.
No, exactly. Yeah, so AEW will be outliving Smoky Mountain Wrestling unless it goes out of business tomorrow, I think. But yeah, it's an interesting factoid.
And finally, here from Bacon Rasher. Hi, lads. My one for Ollie. From the Scripts video you uploaded yesterday. If you haven't seen it, me and Pete did a rare NXT reaction video on Reggie's new gimmick in NXT. Reginald's new gimmick, Scripts. Which we've decided possibly is the most absurd debut of the year.
It is dumb, isn't it?
You mentioned an S-word mask and said you work with Tempest. Are you reigniting a feud here, or do you honestly think Tempest's mask sucks? Also, Hager hat or Pete hat? Pete should remember LIW for life. Well, I did say that to anger you in the moment, but
yeah, and then I just agreed with you. It's all right because I'm mildly upset with Tempest right now because he lost the championship and it was going to be me versus Tempest at Survivor Series for the championship. But now, because he lost the belt, I can't fight for the championship. Him losing the championship has negatively affected me. And that's very selfish of him. That's what I think, anyway. So we're going to be fighting for the #1 contendership instead.
Because my boy Luke's got it. TAD, JTJ. And finally, for now, Noah Fortner just put in a 5-star match in the kitchen for Thanksgiving. Just put in a 5-star match in the kitchen for Thanksgiving. Thanks for everything you guys do, lads. How's Pokemon going, Pete?
Good. It's fun. I'm enjoying it, and the Pokemon are good.
Because your starter Pokemon was Horbunny, wasn't it?
Nope. That's also not a Pokemon.
Bukaki?
No.
Squirt. Oh,
that is one. Not the correct generation, though. No.
What generation are we on now?
9. Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite a lot, isn't it?
Is it 9? It's 9.
Thank you very much for joining us here today and for all your wonderful Omega chats. Please do click the subscribe button. And hey, if you haven't seen it, go over and see mine and Pete's Scripts video on the WrestleTalk channel. It was fun, wasn't it?
We laugh a lot.
Watch me
Very
come.
stupid. Not an ad for the video. It's not what happens in the video.
No, we do. That is a big part of the video. We quote his promo.
We do quote his promo,
which says, "Watch me come."
Yep, but we're not saying that is what happens in the. Go watch the video.
It's not spelt the right way. Well, at least not how I would spell it, Tara.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for joining us here today. See you next time, which is tomorrow. Blackpool Combat Club. Subscribe so you know when that goes live. Jam that jam.